Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're gonna be taking a look at the dark secrets of Israel Kais. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for all of your support. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I cannot thank you enough for giving these videos a watch and supporting me in my journey. He would often keep them captive for extended periods of time, subjecting them to horrific abuse and torture. He showed no empathy or compassion for his victims or their families, and he seemed to take pleasure in their pain and suffering. One of the factors that made Kais such a successful manipulator was his ability to read people. He was a very charismatic person, and he had a way of making people feel special and important. He would often shower his victims with gifts and compliments, making them feel that they were in a relationship with someone who was truly caring and loving. He was a master of human behavior, and he could easily identify people's weaknesses and vulnerabilities. He was able to create false identities and backstories with ease, which allowed him to manipulate people into trusting him. He was able to treat people like pawns in his game without feeling any remorse or guilt. This lack of empathy allowed him to do things that most people would never even consider, such as abducting, raping, and torturing innocent people. He would often tell his victims elaborate stories that were designed to evoke sympathy or admiration, all while hiding his true intentions. He was not afraid to do whatever it took to get what he wanted, which often put him in conflict with the law. His disregard for authority and rules allowed him to manipulate situations to his advantage and evade capture for so long. In the case of Israel Kais, he suffered from several mental illnesses, including antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and intermittent explosive disorder. These mental illnesses contributed to his manipulative, impulsive, and violent behavior. He would then exploit these weaknesses to gain power and control over his victims, and charm, his skill as a liar and con artist, his lack of empathy, and his willingness to go to any length to achieve his goals. These factors combined to make him one of the most dangerous and terrifying serial killers of all time. This was evident in the way he described his crimes in detail to investigators, as well as in the journal entries he kept. In some cases, he would even take his victims to remote locations and leave them stranded, forcing them to fend for themselves in the wilderness. Israel Kais was an American serial killer, rapist, and kidnapper who was also a master manipulator. He would spend months developing his victims' trust before striking. His victims included women and young girls as young as 12 years old. Despite his relatively low victim count, Kais is considered one of the most evil serial killers of all time due to the sadistic nature of his crimes and his complete lack of remorse. He would often target vulnerable women who he believed he could easily manipulate and control, and he would use his charm and charisma to gain their trust before assaulting them. One of the most disturbing aspects of Kais' crimes was the way he treated his victims after assaulting them. Another disturbing aspect of Kais' crimes was his complete lack of remorse. So, what was it that made Israel Kais such a master manipulator? Another factor that contributed to Kais' manipulative abilities was his charisma and charm. In addition to his charisma, Kais was also a skilled liar and con artist. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of Kais' manipulative abilities was his complete lack of empathy. Another key factor in Israel Kais' manipulative abilities was his willingness to go to extreme lengths to achieve his goals. Overall, Israel Kais was a master manipulator due to a combination of factors, including his ability to read people, his charisma, as I've mentioned in previous videos. Mental illness is not an excuse for criminal behavior, but it is a contributing factor in many cases. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please show your support.